Hey guys, welcome to Sabby Sabs podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. My special guest today is Christine Olivo. She's an activist and she's running for Congress for Florida's District 24. Hi, Christine.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. So nice to meet you. Thanks so much for coming.
It's so nice to meet you as well. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Awesome. So, before we dive into your campaign, can you tell everybody a little bit about your background and why you decided to run for Congress?
Wow, my background. I don't know if we have enough time, right? No, I'm kidding. Um, I grew up in the district that I'm running in, Miami, Florida, and I'm a first generation American. My family's from Haiti. I grew up in a very diverse community. So there was a lot of, Hispanics, Haitians, Filipinos. So I grew up in a very diverse world where I almost had like blinders on for racism because I just thought, oh, okay, we're all just one.
Mhm.
But that wasn't the case, right? So as I grew up in the district, I started realizing that there was a lot of our community suffered a lot of disparities, and that and I learned that mainly during my work as a youth director. So in my late 20s, I know you're like, how old are you now? But in my late 20s, I was a youth director for 6 years at a local church. And that's when I started to really see what our youth were experiencing in the community, and realizing that it wasn't much different from what I experienced as a child, and that things just weren't changing. So that started my, I guess, my moment of community service. When you work for a church, it's almost like community service. You're not getting paid much, but you do so much. So I was a youth advocate, and I would teach sex education to our inner city youth. I taught parenting classes. They were classes designed to help parents connect with the youth. So we would have a dinner every Wednesday night. It would be family dinner, and then we would break off into small groups, and we would really reach out and speak to our parents and teach them how to communicate with their child, especially growing up in Miami. So I spent a lot of my time working in the community. Um, but as you know, being a minority, most of us work more than one job, right?
Mhm.
So I not only was I working with the youth, I was also working at restaurants. I started my own business, different things like that. So I'm also an entrepreneur. My background is that I just lived it all. I dropped out of high school at 19 because my family was about to lose their house, and I could not afford to stay in school. I had to work 3 jobs. We still lost the house, but that just started the cycle of working 3 jobs to keep my head above water. So really, my background is that I'm just a regular person that has literally lived it all. And it wasn't until I became a mother. I got married, and we have 2 boys, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And then Donald Trump got into office, and I said, there's no way that I can stay silent, knowing that I have 2 children that are going to grow up to the aftermath of what this man is going to do to our country. And I started doing Facebook videos and just being very outspoken, as I always am. And then everyone said, well, Christine, you should put your money where your mouth is, and you should really do something. And so I thought, okay, maybe I'll start a nonprofit. And I was like, I don't know. I feel called to do something else. I'm a woman of faith, so I prayed about it, and I am running for office.
Awesome. So you have a very powerful ad on your website. In fact, my husband, I was showing it to my husband last night. One of the things I think that's really important that you highlighted is you showed everyone a side of Miami that I think a lot of people don't get to see, like in the movies or TV, and there are a lot of disparities. One of the things that stood out to me is I noticed that there were tents, like people staying in tents, like under overpasses. And it kind of reminded me of what Shahid Buttar was talking about with the tent communities in San Francisco. And so I was wondering, is that happening in District 24? Do you feel it's headed in that direction if things don't change?
So the tent cities, it is in District 24. They've been relocated. The night before Valentine's Day, the day of love, the police showed up at about 3 o'clock in the morning and kicked everybody out
Oh my gosh.
because of there's construction that's going to be happening. They have developers that do not want to see the homeless on the streets, and they are starting to develop their new luxury affordable housing. And so the homeless don't fit into that plan. So I drove there the very next day. This happened in the middle of the night. I drove there the very next day. I spoke to some of the homeless, and the homeless said, yes, the police came. And I saw the construction workers, and they said, well, we could stay here for a few hours during the day, but we have to leave before the construction workers get here so that they don't see us. And I said, well, did the police think that you maybe have a car that you can just put your stuff in and then go, and like, what is this? And so I kept driving. After I spoke to the gentleman, I kept driving, and there it was, a pile of walkers, blankets, cardboard, piles of cardboard. The police had dumped all the stuff that they couldn't take with them, that the people couldn't take with them. They dumped it in a pile for the garbage to come. So
Wow.
yes, we are headed in that direction. In South Florida alone, in my district, because I cover Miami and Broward, for those of you that know, I mean, not many people know, but I cover Miami and Broward. Together, 17,000 people have been evicted since the pandemic. 17,000. 10,000 in Miami, 7,000 in Broward.
Oh my
So
gosh.
now we have people that have evictions on their credit. Okay, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? They are unemployed. Where are they going to go? If they had money, they would have kept the places that they were in.
Yep.
This moratorium is a joke. It is a joke because these landlords find loopholes. And the fact that our governor did not renew the moratorium, he's like, oh, well, we're doing it federally, so we don't need to have the added protections from the state. So he did not renew the eviction moratorium. And so the landlords have found the loopholes, and that is how we have 17,000 and counting people that are being evicted right now. So yes, those people that can't find homes, they will be homeless.
My gosh. See, everybody, it's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. I saw on your website that over 130,000 people in District 24 live below the poverty line. What do you feel are some of the contributing factors for that?
Well, I think that we don't have education resources to education. Like I said, when I was 19, I had to drop out, right? So I couldn't even I just graduated my bachelor's in December. And I only went because I knew that I wanted to learn more about government. And I made the sacrifice to take on a student loan to finish my degree. But not everybody can say that. And I'm 37. I dropped out at 19. Only 19% of our district even has a bachelor's degree. So without the right education, without the right training, we can't get the jobs that are going to pay us more. We have to settle for the jobs that will pay us scraps. And I think that is a huge factor. Many of my students, and I try to mentor my students, even though I have not been a youth director in a while, they're still in my life. So many of my former students could not go to college. They decided to work instead.
Mm-hmm. See, that's why I tell people when they make comments like minimum wage jobs are not meant to be full-time jobs. They're meant for like teenagers. That's why I tell people, I'm like, not everybody's in a position where they can go to college. it just is what it is. I do have a question about Frederica Wilson. When you look back on her time in office, where would you say, in reference to District 24, where would you say that she has gone wrong?
Frederica Wilson has been very active in the community for over 22 years. And she was part of the state legislature, and now she's, federal. Frederica Wilson has, and I say this lightly because I know that she's very well loved in our community. But what we have to understand is that just because we like somebody does not mean that they're doing the job for us. She has
Yep.
underperformed for the past, I mean, she she has been in office since 2011 as a congresswoman, and she has underperformed for most of her terms. The only term that she did well in was her first term. So let's we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to say, okay, at some point someone has lost the energy. At some point someone has lost the will to fight. Okay? And where I feel that she has failed is in showing up. She is nowhere to be found. She's absent. You call her office, good luck. Good luck getting in touch with anybody. We have a young boy, 3 years old. He was shot dead at his birthday party this weekend.
Oh my God.
Where is she? And this is growing. This is our second child that we have lost at a birthday party this year. That's 2 deaths already. The violence is growing, the unemployment is growing, and I know, baby. And we are suffering. And where is our congresswoman? She's not in DC. She's not here. Where is she? So where has she failed in showing up and giving the resources to the community? She has brought in $7 million into our community to hire cops. Do you know what that money could have done? I apologize, 6 million. Do you know what that money could have done? That could have put resources for mental health. We could have had resources because our kids are traumatized. Our families are traumatized. Okay, we could have had vocational schools, and we could have had scholarships and programs for people to finish college. We could have had entertainment arenas or centers for the youth. When I grew up, there was I can go bowling, I can go ice skating, I can go roller skating. There was nothing, I could do whatever I want growing up, right? We had basketball courts, we had everything. Right now, in order for our kids to experience anything great, they have to travel. Who has cars? They have to travel to Broward. Everything has been taken away. The ice arena is now a Lexus dealership. The bowling alley is a church. Everything, and the basketball courts, there's no hoops because they take off the hoops because they think that if people play basketball, they're going to fight and there's going to be more gang violence. No, that's not the case. So the city took down the hoops physically to stop fights, as opposed to asking what is going on. Why are our young men and women so angry? What can we do to bring happiness and joy into our families, protecting the family unit, making sure that the fathers are not incarcerated, making sure that the mothers are home to feed their child and do homework with their children? Like, when are we going to get to that point when we say, okay, we need to focus on family, on people, not more law enforcement?
Yep.
So I'm sorry, I do understand that our congresswoman has a nonprofit that does help boys. It's called the 5,000 Role Models, that helps young minority boys. They help them get into college and things like that. It's great. It's wonderful. And that will go on with or without her in office. It is an organization separate from her position. But what about the legislation? She just passed right before the election. She passed a commission on the status of Black men and boys, a commission, basically a group of people that will study, the disparities between Black men and boys, which for me, I said, listen, If you need a commission to do that, after you have a program that literally helps young Black boys, we need more than a commission. I can tell you what's wrong. We need to end cash bail. I can tell you what's wrong. We need to legalize marijuana. I can tell you what's wrong. We need to help we need free tuition-free public college so that our entire community can go to college. I can tell you what's wrong. We need to raise the minimum wage so that people are not stealing for money or for food. These are things, but okay, you passed the commission. Great. So excited that you passed the commission. What has happened with it since? No one has been appointed to it. There's no studies going on. So it's like everything's mediocre. So we're just going to pass things that are mediocre just to get me reelected. And then what? You're not showing up. And if you're tired, say you're tired and let somebody else step in and do the job. We just lost Alcee Hastings, and may God rest his soul. But why are our members of Congress, when they know that they're sick or when they know that they have reached their point, why do they insist on still staying in office and not passing the baton? It does not benefit our community, and it is time.
Well said. Very, very good points. I've wondered those things myself sometimes. I want to get to some of the issues on your platform. So one of the issues is immigration. So I know that your father immigrated from Haiti. So I know this is, this is personal for you. You want to abolish ICE. And the second part is really key because a lot of people don't go to this step. You want to create a safeguard to prevent another agency similar to ICE.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody why is this important?
It's important because, okay, ICE was created in the Obama administration. Trump just was able to bring light to what ICE really does and magnify it and make it more malicious. But it's from one administration to the next, who knows what can be done, right? But if we have a separate agency that is making sure, someone that is in charge of the way that guards are treating those that are being detained, or the sleeping conditions, or even separating children from their parents. If we have a separate agency that does not answer to an administration, then we know that we are going to be protecting our migrants for administrations to come. We don't have to worry, oh, okay, well, the next person could be a tyrant and they're going to treat them this way. No, the agency will protect them and will make sure that the conditions don't change, that everything is humane, that people are treated with dignity and respect. And the administration will have to go through that agency in order to make any changes, and they will approve it.
Well said. So another issue on your platform is racial justice. You said that reparations must be the first priority, and this is very important to me. Hello there.
He said,
so adorable.
No, Jesus. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, we're not praying right now, baby.
You said that reparations must be the first priority. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I feel that we are pacified as as Black people. I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna go and get politically correct. As Black people get pacified. Oh, okay, listen, they're complaining about this. Let's just give them this to quiet them up a little bit. I used to pacify my kids. I wish I could right now. You give them something to just quiet them down. We don't want anything else to pacify us. Though we want things to be corrected. You need to make, not you, the government needs to make up for what has been done to Black people for 400 years plus. So reparations is the first priority because it's never the first priority. It's never, oh, we need to help our, African Americans get land. We need to help African Americans generate some wealth. We need to help African Americans with education, or nothing, housing. No, everything is like, oh, okay, we're gonna give this. No. We want a document stating what we get for being dragged here and treated like animals. I have animals, so I wouldn't even treat them like that, but treated as if we are not even human. And then once we are free, we are incarcerated in order to still be free, but working under, working off our debt to society, right? Oh, because what we did was wrong. Oh, you had a warrant for your arrest for drinking in the wrong fountain. You're gonna get 16 years. And you did it, not me. It's not because you're Black. It's just because you didn't follow the law. So now we switch slavery off, and so we are still just, nobody has made up. No one has, America has not said, I am sorry here. So first priority, reparations. And it needs to be detailed. And it needs to be, I understand that there's an argument with reparations, because it's like, does it go to all Black people or is it just descendants of slaves? Mm-hmm. And I think that is an excellent question. I think that what people need to first realize is, let's just at least get the government talking about reparations, and then let's go down to the descendants. That conversation should have happened 70 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. We should have sat down and started talking about, okay, descendants. Now everybody's mixed, everybody's everywhere. So at this point, the government needs to pay for everyone, because let me tell you something. There could be a Black Jamaican kid running down the street that's gunned down by cops. Yep. They don't look to see, oh, wait a minute. Let me see, hold on a second. Was he a descendant of a slave? We all look the same to them. Yep. And so we all get redlined. We all suffer the ramifications of being Black in America. So I think that reparations need to be for anyone that can walk down the street and can classify as Negro. But at the end of the day, we just need to start the conversation. And I believe land needs to be a part of that. And don't get me started on credit, because I think credit needs to be a part of that. I think that education needs to be a part of that. Our children should be able, I think everyone's child should be able to go to college for free, but for sure, the descendants of the slaves or the Black kid down the street, everybody deserves to go to college for free, because education was withheld from us.
Agreed. And you brought up an interesting point about land, because a lot of people, like, if you're not Black, you probably have not experienced this, but there's a lot of racism in real estate.
Yes. My mother works with mortgages, and she sees it every single day. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of racism with real estate. And right now, speaking of, so the district that I represent is predominantly Black. And right now, to buy a house in North Miami, it is $600,000 minimum. Wow. They're not trying to keep it Black. Because if we are making if the median household income in my district is $38,000, who's gonna afford a $600,000 house in North Miami? Right. Who's gonna do that? So this is strategic. They're already planning ahead. They're planning 10, 20 years ahead. They're like, listen, keep the prices high, keep them out. I already know. But you know what? We need to get to a point where it doesn't matter. That we can say, no, we're going to get that $600,000 house in our reparations. Have the president sign that check.
Well said. Another issue on your platform is Medicare for all. Now, recently, so the Biden administration is talking about expanding Medicare to people who are 55 years old. But me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, what about the rest of us? Yeah. What's your opinion on that? How do you feel about expanding Medicare versus Medicare for all?
Medicare for all, they can do it. They can do it. When people say, how do we pay for it? We're already paying for it. You pay for your insurance. You pay for your insurance every month, astronomical prices. Why not pay for it through your taxes instead and not pay so much? And your employer pays for it as well. So your employer can now save that money and raise your minimum wage. So don't talk to me about not being able to afford it. We can do it. We all deserve it. And for a country, for a developed country like we're living in, it's shame on the US for not providing it already. The only reason why is because we are so in bed with these corporations, these health insurances, and oh my gosh, they fund so much. My opponent has taken money from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I mean, our politicians are in bed with these health insurance companies. So of course they're not going to push Medicare for all. They may push it on you know, in an interview, or maybe they'll co-sponsor something, but they know it won't pass. You know what I mean? But Biden already said he would veto it. He gets too much money from them. He would veto it. And it's not bold. If anything, if there's anything that we've learned from the pandemic, is that our healthcare system is broken. It is flawed. Our employment system is flawed. So if my insurance is tied to my employer and then I no longer have a job, where's my insurance? And you want me to get Obamacare? Obama doesn't care. Okay, because am better is am worse. That thing is like $700 a month. Who can afford that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that 55 is it's not even a compromise. Once again, they're trying to pacify. I don't understand what the issue is. Go bold, go big. You will see the return. People will now be able to live longer. They'll be able to work better. They'll be able to get the help that they need so that we can function in society. Stop. So yes, I'm with Medicare for all, everyone, every last one of us.
And a lot of people don't understand too, that like, even for people that have like private insurance, sometimes they still get hit with large medical bills because the insurance companies don't cover everything. Yeah,
they don't. My son is 3. I got a bill from his birth for $9,000. I said, well, I can't return him. So I don't know what y'all want to do with this $9,000, but for you to tell me now that I owe you that, very interesting. It's not happening.
Oh my gosh. All right, Christine, I have one more question for you. How can people get involved with your campaign?
I hope you live locally. I need some more people knocking on doors with me. Right now, I have a lot of volunteers throughout the US that are helping you with phone calls, phone banking and text banking and social media and things like that. I would love some local volunteers, but I am down. I'm down for it all. But you can also donate. Donate. I love small donations. $1 would be awesome. $1 from everyone. That would be great.
All right, awesome. So everyone, I'll be sure to put the links to Christine's website in the description below. Christine, thanks so much for coming today.
And Zeke, say thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is my first interview doing with my son, actually. So thank you for being so understanding. I really appreciate it. Really, seriously.